Hmm. Maybe I do the 5 mask first. What's up, I may occur? How are you doing? Let's do. We gotta do the 5 masks so we can show people that it's not about rushing. So let's go ahead and put that on. Is that 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. Okay. So no Daredevil. No, we don't want multitudes. Oh wait, what? Wait, do I have 6 masks on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that's okay. Multitudes, Daredevil, Vengeance. Got it. Okay. All right, we're good. Let's go ahead and actually go out real quick, take a look at the hourglass, just so I can show people that I have all of it. All right, so starting now. So this is going to be the Stormwind portion of the guide that I started working on this morning, where I showed the Orgrimmar stuff. You can see now I have the rest of the Hourglass of Horrific Visions. Unfortunately, Gift of the Titans is absent. It seems to definitely have been meant to be there because it's still on the 11.1.7 PTR, but I did also get an achievement once I got what's on here. So, you know, it is what it is. Also, I just realized I didn't actually need to worry about orbing in during Illyria because I have the cheat. Forgot that was a thing. But that just show that I have all of the talents now for this particular one.
Stormwind City.
Should
the holy light, now fallen.
Take off Vengeance. Take off Daredevil.
Obeying the whispers in her
Take
mind.
off Multitudes.
Forces all
So if you don't know, as long as you go into a vision, like actually talk to Rathion and go in, your masks that you have equipped are saved. But if you leave without entering the vision, it will revert to whatever the last save was. So keep that in mind. Can easily check how many you have equipped and not equipped because the smoky ones are not equipped. So you can see I have 3 smoky ones, which means I have 5 masks equipped. So for this demonstration, I'm going to be using Burn Bridge, which is the void zones that spawn behind you. Dark Imagination, which is the ad that spawns when you go below 50% sanity. Long Night, which reduces your maximum sanity by 50%. Mask of the Pained, which is going to give us 2 madnesses per zone instead of 1. And Mask of the Nemesis, which is going to spawn Hogger in Stormwind every 25 kills. Hogger, definitely worse than Gammon. Does not stun, but I actually want to check this out because I didn't let it go off because I didn't want to fail my 8 mask. But I'm gonna wow head it real quick and see what actually that does. We don't want that one. Let's just check this spell here. Is this the one used by him? Oh, that's in Stockade, so I doubt that's the same thing. One sec. Hogger, Horrific Visions. Okay, here we go. Abilities. So his Enrage is a 30% attack speed increase and a 10% physical damage increase. Vicious Slice is an initial hit followed by a bleed for 5% of your max health every 2 seconds for 6 seconds. And then Maddening Call will deal physical damage to all nearby enemies and reduce melee attack, ranged attack, and casting speeds by 30% for 5 seconds, which would feel pretty bad if you got hit by it. So it is a kickable cast, but that may not necessarily be achievable because Stormwind decided that it needed not 1, but 2 different pulls that have 3 informants, which, if you remember from Orgrimmar, the Dominators that cast Touch of the Abyss, the 5-second stun channel, same thing. They're the exact same mob with a different name. So, probably want to pay a bit more attention to when Hogger is going to spawn so that you don't have to worry about dealing with that. Because I don't know about you, but I don't want to have the Light Hunter poison on me at the same time as Hogger's spellcasting reduction.
It seems our fates are
So, let's go ahead and jump into the vision. Start talking about strategy and stuff. Alright, so, Stormwind. Your 2 corrupted areas are going to be the Trade Districts and the Dwarven Districts. And for... Sorry. And for the Lost areas, you're going to have Old Town and the Mage Quarter. Most people agree that the Mage Quarter is the part that you're going to struggle with the most. But Old Town, honestly, especially if you're trying to do 8 masks, I think that area was actually worse. Umbric was the worst boss, but the area itself, Old Town, was 100% worse. Alright, so we start off in the Cathedral. So the first thing we want to do is find out where what our good potion is, and I'll show you where you can do that pretty easily. It's a little bit more accessible than Orgrimmar. There's no need to go out of your way or anything like that, because it is actually right over here next to this crate. So if you just make sure you have line of sight, there you go, purple potion. So that means that black is our good one. You can see that our madness has changed this time, so we still have the promised power, which is our power circle thing. But the other one, instead of being the fast and slow time thing, is instead the bloodthirsty, which periodically will put this circle right here on you, and that circle will leech health from friends and enemies. So it's largely nothing. You don't really have to think about it at all. It's not... Compared to every other madness, it's literally nothing. So I wouldn't even worry about that one. It doesn't do enough damage to matter to either the friends or the enemies. So these guys here do repel. You can stun them out of it, but it makes them take 75% reduced damage and deal damage to attackers. If we're looking at our map, I generally like to go Trade, then Mage, then Dwarven, then Old Town. Similar to Orgrimmar, there is a fast travel option at the end of each zone, except this time, instead of a totem that sends you flying through the air, you just click on a portal and it instantly takes you back to the beginning of the Cathedral District. Alright, so we're going to go in here. The first thing I usually do is I will clear these 2 mobs, not because they're hard, but because this appendage, if you try to pull this into other stuff, a lot of times it will reset and you'll just end up having to come up here and kill it anyway. And we're going to come back here, so we will need it dead at some point. I recommend going, if you have cooldowns up, I definitely recommend going for Inquisitor as soon as possible with your cooldowns up. The reason for that is because he is one of 2 bosses in this vision that could potentially do sanity damage to you despite your best efforts. You can see we don't have Scorched Feet this week. Instead, we have Dark Illusion, which is what's spawning this little ghosty version of me. If that collides with you, you get stunned for like 4 or 5 seconds, so try not to be hit by that. So this guy does 2 spells, one of which is that Agonizing Torment you just saw, which just does ticks of sanity damage. The other spell he does is called Convert, which only matters if you're playing with other people because it's going to make you hostile to your friend. Alright, here's our first experience with Hogger, so you can see he's going to hit me. There we go. 5% of your max health every 2 seconds. There's his Maddening Call, which is going to be the melee and spellcasting speed reduction, and then he does Enrage at low health. So, this guy here is the final boss of the area. I'm going to go ahead and clear this trash over here real quick, though, because I actually still need to grab the exhaust manifold from here, because I forgot to do it the week before last, which I believe is supposed to be around here somewhere. Oh, must be in this crate here. And there it is. Cool. All right, now this guy here, he's got 2 attacks that he does. One is going to be he will spawn a giant tentacle that does 3 swirlies in a line. Just don't get hit by that. It'll stun you and do sanity damage. Actually, I'm not sure if it stuns. I know it does sanity damage, though. The other one is that he's going to do a spell called Chain of Silence, and this is sort of similar to Hopelessness from Orgrimmar, the mechanic where you are pacified, unable to cast anything until you pick up an orb. In this case, unfortunately, you just have to run away from him until it finishes. So he's going to... It's called Chains of Servitude, and he's going to pull you toward him. But normal run speed, you cannot run it. I'll just show you this real quick so you can see I get stunned for 4 seconds. No sanity damage or anything, just a stun. So Chains of Servitude will pull you toward him. You can outrun it with regular movement speed. If you collide with the boss while he's channeling it, you will get stunned and you'll take a lot of sanity damage. So definitely don't get hit by that. He's a very easy boss, though. Like, you're not in a hurry. There's his tentacle. Chains of Servitude is percentage based. It's at 75%, and then I believe 25%. And if you manage to bring him past both thresholds before he casts it the first time, he absolutely will cast them back to back. So it does look like it's 75 and 40%, not 75 and 25. But yeah, so now he's basically just a target dummy. Once you kill him, we got to open 8 of these cells. So there's, these are in fixed positions, so there's always going to be 2 here. There's going to be 1 right here. Chest, you're killing me right now. Okay. There's going to be 1 over here. There's going to be 2 here in the middle. So as you can see, you pretty much have to clear this entire zone because there are going to be cages next to all of the trash packs. Then we're going to head up here, grab this one. And then the last one is a little out of the way. You have to go up this way. And then we don't want that exit. We want this exit down here. So you can see it's the one on the southwest side. Coming across here. Now, normally I would heroic leap across here, but since not everyone has that, we'll go ahead and pull this guy. These tumors, when you're standing in their effects, they do give you slowed casting speed and haste. However, their area shrinks as they take damage. Now, this week in the Lost areas, we have Split Personality, which we saw in Orgrimmar. That's the one that spawns the dark copies of yourself around you that will disorient you if you collide with them. The other one is Leaden Foot, which we did not see last week. Leaden Foot, while you are in combat, you will rapidly stack a debuff called Leaden Foot, and it's going to slow you. And at max stacks, I believe it's like an 80% slow or a 90% slow. And the only way to remove those stacks is either to leave combat or to stop moving, and they will destack just as fast as they stack. So basically the name of the game is, in combat, try not to move too much until you need to move. That way you're not slow when you need to move. They do make this a little tricky, because as you can see, we have these, not corruption tumors, but we have these, of course now there's not any when I want to show you. There are these little crawling corruptions. They are everywhere, because they spawn from the mini-boss, or not the, yeah, the mini-boss portal. So, the tumors will drop combat very quickly, so you don't have to worry about finishing them off necessarily. But you can see I'm very slow right now. Let's see, how much is it? Oh, it's not as much as I thought, actually. Okay. As you can see, these guys will just show up out of frickin' nowhere and put you in combat so that you're slow. This is probably one of my least favorite mini bosses, and it'll be worse depending on your spec. But the important thing is stay moving. You have about 2 seconds when a swirl hits until it explodes and does sanity damage to you. So if you have longer casts than that, you're probably just going to have to not use them. He does also do a frontal breath attack that you can just sidestep, but that will also deal sanity damage to you if you stand in it. You can see I can pretty much just do circles around him, and it's fine. If you're a caster, it might be a little trickier. But there is no rush to kill him. He's not hard to, or he's not gonna like kill you with sanity unless you try to rush it. So just take it easy, and you'll be fine. You can see I have a black potion there. I could use that to get sanity, but just like in Orgrimmar, I don't want to use potions because I want to show you that you do not need potions to be able to do this. These Void Elementals, if you have Vengeance and Multitudes active, highly recommend kicking them. That Void buff hit is going to give you increased shadow damage taken, so definitely not something you want. That being said, the Portal Keepers that are with him, they do cast Psychic Scream, which is an AoE fear, so keep that in mind as well. You'll want to CC or interrupt that. This guy only has 3 mechanics. 1, he's going to spam Shadow Bolts. 2, he's going to cast Rain of Fire, which will do sanity damage while you're standing in it. Although, it seems to be bugged, and it does not actually show the sanity damage on your screen. Don't be fooled. It is doing sanity damage to you. And then lastly, he's going to spawn 3 little ads that die very quickly, but they drop a swirly on the ground when they die that will also do sanity damage to you. Okay, now I want to point this out because one of the biggest problems with Stormwind is people get lost in the Mage District. So I just want to show you this, right? When we came in, we came up here. Okay? We came up here. We killed the mini-boss. There was a portal keeper over here, but we accidentally pulled that during the mini-boss. That's why it's not there now. So once you come up this path, you only need to know two things. So without multitudes, the only door you need to go in is this one. With multitudes, there's going to be a trash pack here that you really don't want to have to fight if you don't need to. So if you are using multitudes, you'll go through this door, and that will let you pull this portal master without having to fight that extra trash pack. And this guy does nothing. He's basically the same as a normal faceless one kind of mob. Just drops a puddle on the ground periodically. That's it. We can go back through here. So there's 5 total portal keepers, including the named mini boss that we killed. Crawly Boy is not a he is not a portal keeper, and technically he is not required that I'm aware of. But since he does patrol the entire area and drop all those annoying swirlies, it's not likely that you're going to be able to skip him. Alright, so lastly, we're going up here into the Mage Tower. Have our lovely split personality block us on the path, because I don't trust myself to go on that tiny path right there. This guy is, for most people, the hardest the hardest final zone boss of any boss, other than maybe Rexar. He has 3 mechanics. Mechanic number 1, he's going to cast Entropic Missiles, which is going to do a lot of sanity damage. I think it ticks 3 times, and with the Daredevil mask, it's 75 sanity per tick. Second mechanic he's going to do is Tainted Polymorph. It's just a normal polymorph, lasts for like 3 or 4 seconds, but, you know, if it happens at a bad time, it can be really bad. At 66 and 33%, he will yeet himself to one side, he'll teleport, and then while he's over there, he's going to channel a spell. You will not be able to hit him until you get into melee with him. And all the while, there's going to be projectiles coming down the hallway that will deal sanity damage if you get hit. This can be especially annoying if you don't have very good mobility to begin with, because you have leaden foot going on as well, you know, depending on the week. If you are a pet class, though, you're in luck, because your pet can just go hit him and you can just stay here. Makes it a little bit easier. So we're going to go ahead, get in here, show you what he's got. So there's our Entropic Missiles. There's the Polymorph, which I'm going to reflect that. You can see 66%, the first storm. Those are the projectiles, these things here. Don't get hit by them. Be patient, though. It takes him a long time to finish his cast, and he won't move until it's either finished or you get into melee range of him. So I'm going to probably take sanity damage here. Okay. You generally want to wait for one more to spawn before you go into melee range, because that will happen. I'm going to go ahead and finish him off here. Get our sanity back. If you're doing an 8 mask especially, in my 8 mask I did, I actually used an orb in the middle of the fight. I just used it in the middle while I was waiting during his channel. You know, do what you got to do. I don't know if I needed the orb, but, you know, I definitely wasn't going to need it anywhere else. So after I port back from him, so you just go back out into the little hallway, take the portal. This is usually when I killed these guys. Unlike Thrall, the RP to activate Illyria is a lot longer. So keep that in mind. But you only have to step right about here to activate it.
Do not listen to the whispers.
Okay, now we're going to head over this way. I'm going to pull these guys since they're just little creepy crawlies. I'll pull them over into these two mobs here. So we got a Void Piercer, which is one that does the Psychic Scream. And then Piercing Shot, you'll probably want to move out of. It's just a shot that he does in front of him. You can just sidestep it. I ain't got time for you, stupid hogger. Okay. We're going to go over this way. Very important. There's three little gnomes here that activate after a very short RP. Most of the time, you will just pull them incidentally, like you won't have to do anything to pull them. But you do have to pull them. Because if you do not kill them, then you will not be able to see the bombs that are inside this zone, which is your primary objective. So we're going to get this explosive. Normally, I would pull pretty big since I'm only doing a 5 mask, but we don't need to. So our buddy over here is the mini-boss. He has 2 mechanics. He has Void Tainted Blades, which just adds shadow damage to his melees. Nothing to worry about. His other mechanic is called Entropic Leap. He's going to do 3 leaps in a row that you'll see where he's jumping to because there will be a massive swirly. Just don't be in the swirly when he lands, and you're fine. So here's the Void Tainted Blades. Oh, that's actually not ideal. Okay. So what happened there is I got hit by the Dark Illusion Madness. This is the leap. So 3 leaps, then he goes back to normal fighting. And we continue fighting him. Piece of cake, not difficult at all.
I do not have a target.
Over here, you'll notice this motorcycle that's attacking me. This is actually for a mount. But unfortunately, even after you get it, even after you send this outside of the vision, it still spawns in here and gives you another mob to fight. So there's the Dark Illusion. I don't want to try to avoid that. Alright, we'll start grabbing our bombs. There's one there. There's one over here. They are marked on the mini-map if you don't know where they're at, so don't worry about forgetting. We'll have to clear in the middle here. So we got a couple more. One right here. One right here. Let's see, they're getting the materials for the jewel crafting mount, and I'm not even a jewel crafter. Okay, we have, oh, I missed this bomb right here. Oh, I did not think I got close enough to pull them. That's okay. None of the mobs in this area really do anything worth noting.
That's all of them. Detonate the explosives and let's
Okay, after you finish the bombs, you'll have a detonator here. That'll set it off and spawn the final boss. This is a bit of a precursor to his mechanics. He's going to throw bombs here, and you can see I can click on these and kick it away. You don't have to do that, and in fact, I generally don't. And that's because your UI can get in the way. It can just be really annoying. His other mechanic, which you'll see in a second, is this frontal breath. It will do sanity damage if you get hit, so make sure you sidestep it. There's some more bombs. You can see they also don't necessarily throw that far depending on which direction you throw them. So usually you can just move out and it's fine. All right, we want to, we don't want to port. We want to go through this door. And here you're basically picking what you want to fight. You can either fight this tentacle, which is probably the faster way because it's just one mob. If you go around this way, it looks empty, but you will actually be jumped by a couple of packs of rats over here. They don't take a lot to kill, but, you know, it's the long way anyway, so. Remember, tumors you'll drop combat with pretty fast, so once the tentacle is dead, you can get out of there. Alright, we are going to meet the worst single enemy in all of Visions, the Light Hunter. There are two of them right here in this hallway. So we're going to go right down the middle here. There's one, there's two. They're going to do this poison. Reduces your haste and your movement speed by 70% for a few seconds. It is not a dispellable poison, however, it can be removed by things like Blessing of Freedom. Your first mini-boss, easy to miss, is over here on the right. Arms Master Terranthan only has two mechanics. One is a frontal shot that will deal sanity damage, and the other is an AoE with a very obvious effect. Both of them deal sanity damage. She will usually do the AoE followed by the frontal shot, so just keep that in mind. And you do need to move rather quickly to get out of the AoE fast enough to not take any damage. So we'll see that here. So there's that. Move out. You can see how fast that was, though. She'll do the frontal right after this, just like that. So always wait a second to make sure you're going to actually dodge it instead of just re-aim it. She's going to do the AoE again. We move out. She's going to do the frontal. There you go. But very simple. Very easy to dodge. No guaranteed sanity damage. Now, again, Informants are the exact same thing as the Dominators in Orgrimmar. So they're the ones that are going to do Touch of the Abyss and stun you forever if you don't kill them or kick them or CC them. Pretty much every pack has a Light Hunter, whether you see it at first or not. I'm not sure where the one is over here, but I'm not complaining. There may not actually be one in that pack, but the rest of the packs, there will be one. So you can see here, we've got two mobs here. There's going to be a Light Hunter as well. Right there. Same thing here. We'll have another Light Hunter pop out. Light Hunters here as well. Alright. Let's talk about this guy. So he's going to do a Corrupted Blight, which is a dot that applies to you. It only does damage. It does not do sanity damage. He's going to spawn tentacles that will silence you if you stand in them. So you just have to sidestep a little bit. And then lastly, he is a bit of a DPS race because if the dot is not removed, which I'm not sure how you remove it. I've never done that, but if you have the dot on you and he does that circle attack, it's going to deal sanity damage, and you can't stop that cast. So it is a little bit of a DPS race, but he's not too crazy. At least I don't think so. So we're going to see the blight gets put on here. It looks like it's a disease. There's the tentacles. And there's the blight eruption, which looks like I got out of it just in time. But that would have done sanity damage if I'd been hit.
Thing is what drove Shaw mad.
Okay. There will be another Light Hunter up here. Now, this is important. So first of all, you have to kill both mini-bosses in this zone, because each one drops a key. You don't actually see it, but they do. If you are by yourself, Valera is going to stand by one of these, and you will go to the other one. Make sure she's there and standing there. You go to it, you click, and the doors will open. If you have at least one other person with you, she will no longer click it for you unless the person is dead. So if that happens, or if the person's still alive, you'll just have to do a quick countdown and make sure you click at the same time. Shaw has 2 different mechanics. One is that he will vanish, being unattackable, and he will move in a single direction, dropping 3 swirlies, and you want to make sure you don't stand in those swirlies. The other mechanic, the one that people find the most annoying, is that he will start with 1. It'll be a dark eye, and end with 3. You have to not look in the direction of these eyes. So you have to get a little creative with your attack angle sometimes, but you'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. So he's on this hill. Whether you see him or not, he's on the hill. I usually don't pop any cooldowns till he vanishes the first time because he does it rather soon, as you can see. So just kind of sidestep, make sure you don't get hit by that. You'll notice I'm not looking in the direction of the eye. It will periodically relocate itself, just like that. And then as he loses health, he will summon more eyes. But you can see here, like, I can just kind of creatively position myself without actually having to move and still not be looking at them. So, just like that. He doesn't do any unavoidable sanity damage, so you're not in a hurry here. So take as much time as you need. Once he's dead, we're going to take our portal back. And we're going to fight. This fight is going to make Thrall seem like an absolute joke because she is obnoxious. So the first mechanic, so just like Thrall, she absorbs mechanics from the other zones. As you can see, she gets an Eye of Chaos. She will only ever have 1 eye, fortunately. But she will have the eye from Shaw. Her base mechanics are an arrow cast called Darkened Sky, which is going to put a bunch of swirlies that look not too unlike the Promised Power Circle on the ground. Just don't stand in that or you will take sanity damage. Her other base mechanic is that she will cast a spell called Void Eruption, where she will go right here in the middle and start a very long cast time. If you get hit by that, you're going to take a huge chunk of sanity damage. The way that you avoid that is you're going to hide behind one of these pillars. When you do that, make sure that you're looking to see where she is and make sure that pillar's between you, because it is somewhat easy to accidentally get tagged by it. The rest of her mechanics are going to be taken from the other bosses. So she will have Chains of Servitude, just like the final boss of the Trade District. She does get Tainted Polymorph from Umbric, so you will have to kick 1 spell. She doesn't do it super frequently, but you'll have to kick 1 spell. So keep that in mind. And then lastly, and probably the worst part, is that she gets the explosives from the final boss of Dwarven District. So between the fire left behind by the explosives, her casting Darkened Sky, trying to avoid looking at the eyeball, and the burned bridge circles that you're going to leave behind, as you can imagine, it can get a little tight in here. The biggest and best piece of advice I can give you is that this is a marathon of a fight. Do not expect that you're just going to come in here and just decimate her quickly. Okay? Take your time, line of sight as much as you need to. You cannot line of sight the polymorph, so keep that in mind. You always need to be ready to kick that when she casts it. She may not do all of her mechanics. It just depends on her spell queuing. She has a lot of shit going on, so you may only see 1 Void Eruption the entire fight. You may see no Chains of Servitude, so it just depends on her queuing. For the bombs, if you're out in the open and she spawns the bombs, I would try to kick them to one end of the room if you can. But again, it's not a super reliable way to handle that particular mechanic, in my opinion. I would rather just move. When she casts Darkened Sky, she's going to cast the swirls where you are at the end of the cast. So if you're over here and she starts casting Darkened Sky and I were to charge into her right now, she's just going to do the Darkened Sky on top of me. So you're better off waiting until she finishes the Darkened Sky and then moving. Make good use of the pillars. Other than the polymorph, nothing else can be used through the walls. The Void Eruption and the Chains of Servitude can hit you wherever you are, but none of her other casts will are able to be cast through the walls. That's not true. I'm lying to you. Sorry. She can cast pretty much everything through the walls, but she will run to you if you're hiding behind the pillar eventually once she finishes casting whatever she's casting. So, yeah. So basically just, you know, take your time. It's not a rush. It will be a long fight, especially if you're doing it on 8 masks. So, you know, you can see here I still have 3 of my orbs available. I have 320 sanity, which honestly is going to be more than enough, most likely. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. You're safe to use, you know, your relatively long cooldowns here. Like I can use all of mine here. Move out of the way of that. There's the bombs. They're in the center. So I'm going to go ahead and kick them. Get myself a little bit more time. There's the polymorph that I'll kick. Darkened Sky again. Okay, here's the Void Eruption. You can see it's a pretty long cast, so you have time. But make sure you're out of line of sight. And she actually ran in nice and quick that time. I'm going to kick these just because I already got her in a good spot, so I don't want to move her too much if I can help it. Kick the polymorph. Okay. This is the Chains of Servitude, by the way, so she's going to do Tainted Polymorph again. We got her nice in an open space. Move just enough to not be in our Darkened Sky. Kick our bombs away if it's convenient. Darkened Sky. Oh, I'm standing in the fire. I'm actually in a rough spot here. Wow. Okay. Well, I procced my cheat. That's what it's for, right? So we're going to line of sight here. Try to get her to come over to us. There we go. Kick our polymorph. Got Demolish here. Yeah, you can see like right there I kicked that bomb and it didn't even move. So make sure that when you do kick the bombs, you're not always expecting it to be a clear space because they may not move far enough.
A grim
What?
fate for Stormwind, indeed. Take solace in the knowledge that should it ever come to pass.
Why did I not get that when I did the 8 mask? What the fuck? That's weird. Huh. Okay. Alright, so we'll loot. So this is my second 5 mask or higher. So I will get a second hero piece. I got one from my 8 mask already. Let's see what we got here. Oh, I have a crafted piece there. Cool. Alright, so that's the 5 mask. So as you can see, not super bad. Very chill. Didn't use an orb. Did use my cheat, but, you know, it is what it is. That's what it's there for.